Hi people, this is Deborah. Remember, always keep in mind, my videos is not for everybody. It's for those that are on a similar path that I am on, which is to know myself and which is to do the work that is instilled in me to do. And but today I want to talk about Malachi. Let's see. Malachi 3:10. It says, "Bring ye all the tithe into the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house, and prove me now herewith, said the Lord of hosts, if I would not open the windows of heaven and pour you out blessings, that there should not be room enough to receive it." Now, keep in mind that the Bible, much of it is allegory. This scripture is an allegory scripture. Now, the word tithe means tenth. The word house is you. The word storehouse is you. Now, let's see here. It says that there may be meat. Now, remember, I talked about in one of my videos, I think it's Deborah I Am, I told you the difference between milk and meat. Now, the word milk and meat in the Bible is an allegory verse as well. The milk simply means spoon-fed, like a little tiny baby, to keep your feelings from being hurt. The word meat, if you like me, when I eat meat, I have to have me some water or something to help me digest that meat going down my body. Because if I don't, it's going to hurt me. It causes me to get choked. That's what happens when I chew meat. And the reason being is because I don't have my dentures at the bottom of my mouth. I was diagnosed some time ago as having whatever that bullshit is at the gum, a disease at the gum. So therefore, a quack pulled all my teeth. He actually, anyway, I don't want to get into that. Just to let you know, I'm trying to give you an allegory of the word meat and milk. Okay? And I don't want to get off the subject because this is very important. So Malachi 3:10 has to do with the left brain and the right brain. That is your yin and yang. That is your soul. And that is the ego. The ego represents the left brain. And the left brain is the intellect. The intellect is connected to what it sees. It has to have proof by what it sees. If it does not get proof by what it sees, then it's not the truth. That's what the left brain does for you. Also, I got my little notes. You got the body is made up of protons, electrons, and neutrons. The electrons is considered to be the left brain. That would be considered the male. Okay? That is considered to be the male. The protons is considered to be the right brain. That is the female. Okay? The neutrons is in the middle. That's your mod. That is balance. It's amazing to me how they use different words to throw you off, but unfortunately, people, you're going to have to listen to your inside, because your inside will take you through all the cultures. Because you got in the Indian culture, they got something called prano, Prano. Okay, and that is the study of the life force. Then you got Chinese culture, they call it Chi, CHI. And then you got us, we call it the vital force, which all means energy. Okay, and then you got yoga. You got to know the meaning of all that. So when people are talking, remember I told you the story when the guy was calling me nice, and he was calling me stupid, and I didn't have a clue. So we got to get in the habit of looking up stuff and letting our spirit lead us to things that we don't know. Now, over in India, the body is made up of protons, neutrons, and electrons. Excuse me. Electrons is the male, that's the yin. And then which is the left side, which is the intellect. That is the physical thinker, okay? And then the right side is the female, which is the God side, which is the positive side. They switched it and reversed it, and they said that the male is the right, and that's not true, but it's the female. Okay, we got to stop all that craziness, that patriarchal crap. This is just for knowledge. This is just for order's sake. It doesn't mean shit to me that it's female or male. I'm just speaking it because this is the order. And so again, like I said, in India you got something called the Shupmana. It's SUSHMUNA. That will be the neutron, which is in the center of the spine. Okay, and then you got on the right side, you got the positive force, which is the Pingala, the Pinala, something like that. That's the right side. That's the photons. And then on the left side, you got the idol, IDA, and that would be the negative force. That would be electrons. Okay. This is all a part of the Kundalini process. I want to give it to you in pieces, even though I didn't add this as a part of the part 4. This is separate, but yet it's not separate. Again, now the 10% that's spoken of in Malachi 3:10 is actually the left brain. It is said, and it is told, that people only use 10% of their brain. Well, when they talk about that, that is called an idiom. And the idiom is like an allegory. It speaks out the words, but it has a whole new different meaning to what it says. So the 10% has to do with you using the 10% of your left brain. There are 4 of them. You got 4 brains. They're called ventricles. There are 4 ventricles, okay? You got the east, the north, the south, and the west. So when they talk about all that, they're talking about your brain, okay? Now, the left brain focuses on the physical. The right brain, which is the 90%, because that's what they talk about, the 100%. You got the left side is 10%, and then the right side is the 90%. Okay? Now, on that right side is your God self. So it's saying that if you take your 10%, which is really wasted energy, negative, and give it over to the right side, then I will pour you out a blessing that you may understand knowledge about yourself, that you may understand knowledge about the planet, that you may understand what it is that you must do. Okay? But a lot of people won't preach this. Like I said, there are 501c3 preachers. There are fraternity preachers. They know this stuff, but they won't teach you because they know if they teach you to know yourself, there won't be no money in the church. And they know tithing has nothing to do with money. It just simply means tenth. A tenth part of something. Okay? Now, the right brain focuses on this. And this is already in your brain and activated. And I'm going to tell you what it is. There was a guy, he's in jail now. He used to teach that you have to acquire this. You don't have to acquire this. It's already in you. Okay? It's already in you. It just needs to be activated. And the only way it's going to be activated, you got to understand the process of the left brain. Because you ain't going to get to the right brain until you understand the process of the left brain. And that means you got to walk in humility to get this one. Because when you find out what's going on with this left brain, it's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt you. Because what you thought you was reading in the Bible is not. Because that's what happens with the left brain. The left brain would take this book and make you think that it's a literal book. Okay? That's what the left brain does. It makes you think that this is the literal book. And it's not. Okay? But when you give in, well, how you know you've given in to the right side of your brain is because it's going to expose the left side. And when it exposes the left side, which is the ego, it's going to hurt you. It's going to tell you, girl, boy, there's no such thing as a woman coming out the rib of a man. And it's going to start telling you the process of things. And the one that's going to be shadowed is that ego. But that's okay. Because there's nothing more wonderful and great than being free. Because see, now you're on the road to freedom. It's going to give you the real history. Because the word history means his story, which is patriarchal. But it'll take you to her story. And when it takes you to her story, see, you guys are doing good compared to what I had. I had to go through this shit all by myself. I looked for others. When stuff was coming in my head, I looked for others to assimilate, to associate myself with, and there was none. And I had to roll up in this for 10 years all by myself. I mean, it's a beautiful thing that I've learned it. But it's even greater when you have others to communicate with about the things that you're learning. That y'all can share information to get. That's a beautiful thing to me. No, but I understand why I had to roll up in there by myself. Because I'm kind of a hard-headed person. I'm the type of person... just because you're superior don't make you great. Okay? That's how I see life. You're no better than me. You're no different from me. Now, we can disagree agreeably, but My theory is just as great as your theory. My thoughts are just as great as your thoughts. My life is just as good as your life. You know, I used to worship money and material things and stuff like that. I don't do that anymore. But since we're in this kind of a world, money, you can't get nothing without using their paper dollars, okay, in this planet for now. All that shit gonna go away eventually. But anyway, this man was telling people that they had to acquire through the Kundalini these particular activation. One of them is you already have the five senses. Well, you also have four others that you have not activated or you're not aware of. They're in you already. And you probably have used them and didn't realize that you were using them. I'm going to tell you what they are, and I'm going to give you examples of them. Telepathy. And that's the ability to communicate messages or thought from mind without using verbal speech. This is what the original people did way before the men came on the scene. It was all about thought process. Now, there's an old, it used to be a show that used to come on, people that's my age, if you remember, Albert Hitchcock. Albert Hitchcock had a young lady, he had did a show, and there was a little young girl and she was, and I never forget it because I used to watch Alfred Hitchcock and Twilight Zone all the time. So in the Alfred Hitchcock little thing, it came on for 30 minutes. There was a young girl in the classroom setting. She could literally hear people's thoughts, and she could literally take her thoughts and transfer it to other people, and people would actually do what she was thinking. That's who the original people were, which were women. And then as time progressed, it changed. But check this out. So when you are connected to the right brain, you have the ability to communicate thoughts without using verbal speech. I'll give you for instance. You may say in your mind, "Ooh, I sure like to see what's going on with Jody." You saying it in your mind, and then all of a sudden you go to the mall. Damn, there go Jody, because you already communicated through your mind. That's why it's important to pay attention to yourself. Now, intuition, the ability to know what is about to happen before it happens. You get in your head that you're supposed to go. Say you're on the expressway and you supposed you saw that you were supposed to go. You saw it. You saw that you were supposed to turn right, but you kept on going and you turned left. And maybe that's not a good example, but my point is, intuition is having the ability to know things before they happen. You have it. It may not be utilized as much as you would like to, but the more you get in tune with yourself, the more you have the ability to use it. Okay? Now, clairvoyance. That's the ability to see what is going on in another place or room without seeing the events with your two physical eyes. I'll give you for instance. My sister went to this place, and while she was at the place, I could literally see that Jody is buying 300 of her books. Now, when she calls me, she'll tell me, Deborah, Jody just bought $300 of my books. No, 300 books from me. And I really can't say nothing, because if you're not a spiritual person, if you're not focusing on spiritual things, you won't get it. You just think I'm just talking. But I saw it. I saw him giving her and paying for those 300 books. That's just a for instance. So that's just seeing things before it happened, pretty much. Or seeing things right at the time that it's happening. The other one is psychometry. That's the ability to be able to tell something about a person by holding an object or anything belonging to them. In other words, if I hold your hand, I'll give you for instance. I don't like to tell too much of stuff that I've done and still do, because people get scared. And the only reason why people get scared because you're not spiritual. See, if you were spiritual, you would understand these things. But I held this girl's hand one time, and I told her that she had pains in her legs. And I was at a friend girl house of hers, and after I left, she told her friend girl, "Why did you tell her that I was having problems with my legs?" And they got into a big argument about it, but the girl didn't even tell me nothing. So I have to be careful with certain people, because this is what they did to people in the past. I'm not afraid of shit, but they killed women that they considered to be witches. If you could see in someone's life, if you can tell people something that only they know, they consider that to be demonic or witch or whatever. But it's not. It's just you using your spiritual abilities. You gotta get it, people. You were spirit before you became physical. And in the spirit realm, you got two entities. You got the positive and you got the negative. And a lot of those entities in the spirit realm are not balanced. When you're not balanced and you cater more to the negative, then that would be considered to be demonic. Well, it's the same way here in this plane. This plane here is lower than the spirit realm. So think about it like this. Let's just say you are and were a spirit before you became physical. Let's just say you were a negative entity before you got housed in the physical body. Because see, you don't understand the process. The process is this. When that embryo is inside that belly, that spirit from that spirit realm house itself into that physical body. Whether it be negative, which you would call a demon, or whether it be a balance, which would you still call it a spirit, because they're spirit before they become physical, okay? Or it could be unbalanced, but it's housing itself into a physical. They're merging. The spirit merges with the physical, and it comes out through that birth. See, because you got to understand, the vagina is a vortex. It is a vortex from the spirit realm. So what comes through that spirit realm into your body could be anything. I don't mean to scare you, but it's the truth. So you're thinking that those that you consider to be your children, they're not. They're spirit beings coming through your womb. That's why when they grow up, you be like, that's not my child. It's not. We give it a name by saying that's my child, that's my daughter, that's my son, but you got the negative entities that comes through the womb too. Because they can do that. All spirit, and I know it's going to scare the shit out you by me telling you this, but anything in that spirit realm connects itself to this physical realm through the birth canal. Now I'm going to let you sit on that one, but I wanted you to understand the 10th, the tithing, because it has nothing to do with giving money. That's the bullshit that the preachers teach, because the storehouse is not a building. You are the building. The storehouse is not taking care of a pimp, because they pimps to me. I'm sorry. And they're taught through these seminary schools or seaman schools to pimp you out. Because if you don't think about it, you're giving them your energy. Not only giving them your money, you're giving them your energy. All I'm saying, the stuff that I'm giving you, they should be giving you this in these churches, and they're not. Because they work as agents for the elites. Don't take my word for it. Go look at it. I did a video on 501c3. I did a video on it. And I tell you about them. And it's written, it's not hidden. It's on the internet. And it gives you, their responsibility to the elites. It gives it to you. And I told you there was one preacher that talked about them. His name is Pastor Dorby. They killed him. I'm going to list this video underneath here, but he doesn't talk about. He gives you a whole lot more information than most preachers I've seen in the planet give. And they took him up out of here. Because he wasn't a fraternity brother. He went against the oath. See, one of the things about the oath, when you sworn yourself into the oath, that means you're sworn into secrecy, and you have to do what they tell you to do. And when you go against what they tell you to do, they take you up out of here. Or they'll label you as being crazy. Or they'll put you in an asylum. So when you think all these people that you see, that it appears that they were trying to help the public, like these so-called leaders and shit were trying to help, like Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King wasn't killed because he was trying to help the people. Martin Luther King was killed because he went against the oath. I'm going to do a video on all that stuff at some point. But you know me, I'll get off the track a little bit. But I want to talk about the battery. Just a tad. If you pay attention to everything in the planet, everything that you see was created based off the human body. All the homes that you see got penises and vaginas on them. Every type of instrument that you see, penis and vagina. The car works off, is built from the human body, the car that you drive. The computer, same thing. But I learned this process when I was in the 5th grade. The battery. The battery is an allegory symbol of the atom, atom, to me. It is made up of protons, neutrons, and electrons, to me. It is called the Trinity. The Trinity is not Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The Trinity is electrons, neutrons, and protons. So the mother is not only neutrons and protons. She's both. Okay? And the male is the electrons. He's electricity. Why? Because electricity only exists in this earth. Don't fool yourself. They twist it and call it electromagnetic. No, it's magnetic, electric. Everything down here pretty much is electric because it's physical. Anything above the physical is magnetic. Now, the atom is considered to be the vital force. Okay? So when you look at the neutron is the dielectricity. And the color is black. Okay? The proton is the positive. It is the magnetism, and it is white. Okay? Now the electrons is electricity. That's negative. It's red and blue. Straight physical. Okay? Straight physical. And so I just wanted to give you just a little of that. And hopefully you get this. And I'm going to list some of it at the bottom of my video. And hopefully you focus on the things that pertaining to you. And get them folks at them churches. And get them folks focused on themselves. Because that's the real deal. We want to get rid of master and slavery from out of the planet. We don't want it no more. Have a good one.